So, Mr. Beckwith, what's your take on this COP26 since you've been here?
I find it very similar to other COPs, and I don't think there's enough sense of urgency here still. I mean, we're in a climate emergency. People are saying the correct words now, but I haven't seen a follow-up by the politicians and the negotiators to actually make agreements that are, that will go to addressing the urgency and severity of the climate crisis.
So you're working a lot on the situation in the Arctic, and you think that it's an issue that is extremely important, and I'd like you to say to our viewers why.
Yes, well, the Arctic is actually warming much faster than the rest of the planet. In fact, if you go to the high Arctic, it's between 4 and 5 times faster than the rest of the planet. And the Arctic warming is lowering the temperature difference to the equator, which causes the jet streams to slow down and become wavier and stuck in place. And this is why we're getting all these extreme weather events, torrential rains leading to floods in some places, droughts in other places. And these extreme weather events are causing more and more damages to people's, homes and businesses and towns and whole regions. And this is only going to get much worse when we lose the Arctic sea ice, which we can expect to happen certainly this decade, in the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm concerned about the ability to grow food. We'll have simultaneous crop failures in various places of the world, and that will lead to price spikes and perhaps global famine within, say, 5 to 10 years would be my best guess.
Do you think, Mr. Beckwith, that your scientists, that your colleagues should intervene more forcefully in this debate and quit their kind of traditional reserve in the public arena?
What we're finding is more and more scientists are speaking out on abrupt climate change and the risks and dangers that we're facing, but there's still not enough. We haven't built up a critical mass of scientists doing that. Often I find in the mainstream media they have their favorite scientists, they have just a few people, and they're not getting enough voices from other people. So, the public perception of climate change from a scientist's point of view is very, very narrow, and it depends on the particular people that they're interviewing. They're not going wide enough in interviewing people, and clearly more and more of the public are getting very concerned about climate change because more and more people are being affected by the extreme weather events, which I call weather wilding, weather weirding, weather whiplashing, where it goes from one state to another state. And this is all happening in what I call the climate casino. So if any particular city is unlucky in the climate casino, then their home or business or even entire town can be submerged underwater or flooded out or exposed or burned down in a wildfire, for example, or experience massive heat waves and drought. So more and more people around the world are being affected, and there's more and more climate catastrophes in rich countries, in Europe and in North America, and this is starting to wake up the investment community and people that have power to actually make changes. But we're not seeing these changes occurring. The metric for whether the conference is successful is quite simple. It's there's two things. From an economical point of view, it's fossil fuel subsidies. As long as governments still subsidize the fossil fuel industry, we know that they're not serious on addressing climate change. And then from a system standpoint, as long as the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere and the methane levels in the atmosphere and nitrous oxide continue to increase exponentially, the warming will increase at very, very rapid rates. So until either of those things changes, all of these conferences and things are not doing their job. They're failing.
So you're working on three concepts or three priorities to face climate change, which you call the three-legged stool bar. So I would like for our viewers to understand a little more what it means.
Yeah, so I came up with this phrase, the three-legged bar stool. Basically, if you don't have the three legs, obviously you don't have a stool, right? It topples. So one leg is reducing fossil fuel subsidies, reducing fossil fuel emissions. We have to slash fossil fuel emissions, and this is what the primary focus of all of these COPs is, right, to do that. The second leg of the bar stool is that we absolutely have to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. We have to try to restore the climate to what we had, say, 50, 100 years ago in terms of the chemical composition of the trace gases in the atmosphere, CO2, methane, nitrous oxide, and the halocarbons, which are strong, powerful greenhouse gases. So that's the second leg. And the third leg is we should try to cool the planet to give us time to do the other two things, because we can't do those other two things overnight. And I'm talking about methods. I've talked about methods such as marine cloud brightening is one way. Another idea is MEER, MEER, which is using mirrors to reflect away sunlight. Another method is ocean pasture restoration, to try to restore the phytoplankton, the base of the food chain in the ocean, to build up the marine life in the ocean, and that also takes out lots of carbon, and also phytoplankton generate chemicals which act as cloud condensation nuclei and increase low-level clouds, which causes cooling. So there's lots of different ideas and methods like that, so these fall under an umbrella of solar radiation management, and I think we need to do all of these things as part of an attempt to stabilize the climate.
Paul Beckwith, Canadian scientist. Thank you very much, Paul, for this interview.
Well, thank you.